Good morning, fifth graders. Welcome back from spring break. Oh my gosh, how many of you was it hard to wake up this morning? I'm raising my hand. I know it was. And for the kids that had to get to school, cohort A, you probably were like, I have to wake up and get to school today? Yes. Some of you are probably still sleeping. Well, you're probably not sleeping if you're watching this. So anyway, welcome back. Let's get our brains working a little bit, wake up with a little bit of math. We're going to actually start with our flashcards. Remember flashcards, your multiplication facts? That's the basis for all your stuff. And since you haven't probably been doing a lot of math over break, I thought this would be a good way to start. So let's just repeat after me. If you're out there in your own land, you can do it, or you can just look. So here's the first one. Remember our rhyme. 6 times 6 is 36. Oh, I can hear you repeating it. 6 times 8 is 48. Oh, great chanting. 6 times 4 is 24. These are all of our rhyming ones. All right, how about this one? I even have it backwards for you to see. 8 times 7 in order, remember? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, there. Thanks for saying it. This is the one we get mad at, remember? 7 times 7 is 49. Oh, if I just knew that, I'd be doing fine. Let's keep rolling. 8 and 8 fell on the floor. When they got up, they were 64. Another one that fell on the floor. 7 and 6, or that tied their shoe. 7 and 6 tied their shoe. When they got up, they were 42. How old do you have to be to drive a 4x4? 16. I don't know if this is backwards for you guys, but that makes it a little bit more challenging. And then 8 times 4 at the beginning of the year. Nobody knew this one because it was the hardest, but now it's 32. 8 times 4. Let's do our threes quick. Remember our threes? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. All right, now that those math brains are open, let's jump over and get our notes going. Oh, I wanted to show you actually something first. So how do I make myself small here? Back to small. I want to show you the theme for the week. So we're back. Week 31 is I Know It All. Now, why is it called I Know It All? Why is that the theme for the week? Because pretty much you have learned everything. We have one little new thing today, and then pretty much you've learned everything you need to for fifth grade. So that's where you should be like, all right, I'm good. I'm out. But now we have to review it all and get ready for the state test, which is, I think, the first week of May. Nothing to be worried about. It'll be a couple of days of math, just like you guys always kill it. But the tricky thing is you have to remember all the math you learned all year. But we're going to get you ready for it. And starting with that, you're going to need something that looks like this. So you have time now to pause quick and go grab this packet. It was in the last parent pickup, and it is stapled, okay? So this is what we're going to start off with our actual math lesson today. So let me jump over to our other camera. Okay. Let you know that our fish are okay. You probably want it. What you really care about is the fish, I know. So Kazoo, Jeffy, and Tico are all okay. They made it through spring break. They're ready to race. So maybe we'll set up a race later in the week. All right. So get this out right here. I'm going to tell you how we're going to use this week. Well, we're going to be using it for the next 3 weeks. So you have a whole packet. We're just going to worry about page 1 today. Okay? Now, you see problems on here, but these are not about doing the actual math problem. These aren't about doing the math problems. They're just about memorizing and saying what you have to do in order to do it. Very confusing. We have some games and other things we're going to be doing with them. But for right now, let's just look at the first page. So it says, what is the formula for volume? Remember, volume is a 3D shape. Do you guys remember there's two different formulas. One is length times width times height. So remember, you take the bottom, the length and the width, but then it has different layers because you can put stuff inside of it. So length times width times height will give you the volume in units cubed, remember, because it's a 3D shape. The other thing you could do is take just the bottom layer, however much is on the bottom layer. So if you take your Rubik's Cube really quick, right? How much is on just one layer? Well, one layer has 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But how many, right? So that'd be like the top layer, right? Just this top layer. But how many layers are there? 1, then there's 9 on this level, and 9 on this level. So that's why it's length, 3 times how many levels? 3 levels. So that's why you get 27, 3 times 3 times 3. But I wanted to do less of the math than just going, how do you do this? Length times width times height, or base, bottom layer, however much is on one of the layers, times how many different layers there are. So those are your two formulas. This is what we're going to be learning today. So I just want to know how many inches are in a foot. Anybody know that out there? There's 12 inches in a foot. How many ounces in a pound? 16. How many ounces in a pound? Again, we're going to take some notes on this in a second. How many meters in a kilometer? Kilo means 1,000. So it's 1,000. Centa, see this centimeter? Centa means 100. So how many centimeters are in a meter? 100. So that's why I kind of underline that. You guys, well, this is already done in your packet. So kilo and centi. Alex has 4 friends. They share 2 pizzas. How much does each friend get? Oh, I know what kind of problem this is, Mr. Manfeld. It's stuff over people. How much stuff? 2. How many people? 4. So it'd be 2 over 4. How do you do this kind of problem? Look, they're subtracting, multiplying, and adding in one problem. How do you do it? All you have to say is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't actually need you to solve it. I just want you to remember, oh yeah, parentheses first, then multiply and divide beats add and subtract, and then we go left to right, we'd subtract, then add. What about this? Prime factors? What are prime factors? That's the factor tree. Remember when we make the tree and say, how do you make the number? And then we circle the branches. Some of this you might be like, what is he talking about? Hey, it'll all come back to you. Remember, you're just on spring break. And then this last one, how do you move on a number line? On a coordinate grid. Remember, it's always over and then up. Over on the X, up on the Y. So for this one, all right, so let's go back through them all real quick. So if I quizzed you, what would you say? Length times width times height, base times height. How many inches in a foot? 12. How many ounces in a pound? 16. How many meters in a kilometer? 1,000. How many centimeters in a meter? 100. What's this one? Stuff over people, because people are sharing stuff. Don't be a murderer. How about this one? Oh, yeah, there's more than one operation. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Prime factors? No problem. I can make a factor tree. And then coordinate grid? Oh, yeah, we did this right before break. When we played Battleship, you always go over, then up. Not up and over, then up. So that is how I'd like you guys to study this. If you are at home in cohort B, actually study it. Like all of the answers are on the back. You don't need to know every one of those answers, mostly just how to do it. We'll worry about actually doing the problems another day, but memorize this. If you guys are in class, do some kind of game where you practice it, where you quiz each other. Okay, so you work a little bit on this, please. This is also part of your homework, ongoing homework, is to study this, but just page 1. Okay? All right, let's get to some quick notes, and then I will let you be. All right, so remember, we take 3-column notes. So let's do our 3-column notes quick. Let's put today's date. Do I even know the date? Yes, it is the 12th. 4/12, not 19, but 21. And today we're going to be working on conversions. Conversions. Did I spell that wrong? Conversions. Watch this. When you don't know, what do? You ask Google. I think it's an S. Is it an S? Conversions? That looks better. All right. Ask your reading teacher. They know. Oh, that's me. All right. So let's keep going. So what we have is we have something called standard. We're going to make a line down. So we have standard. And we have what's called metric. So in the United States, this is USA, we use standard measurement. But in the rest of the world, and in science, they use what's called the metric system. Base 10, kind of like how we do our adding, we use this. This one is weird, but there's some conversion we need to know. So first we have, let's go inches to feet. How many inches are in a foot? So an inch is about the length of the top of your thumb. See my thumb? From like your little crease in your thumb to the end, that's about an inch. So how many of these make a foot? Now, what is a foot? Basically, how big the bottom of your foot is, how long it is. But it's actually a ruler. So if I grabbed a ruler, just a normal ruler, that you measure things with, that is 1 foot long. So how many inches are in a foot? 12. That's right. Mr. Gilroy, you can say hi. They'll only hear your voice.
Hey, kids.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Kata. We'll catch up soon.
Yes.
All right. How many feet are in a yard? So, if a foot is a ruler, the only thing I ever knew yards with is football. Like, 10 yards to get a first down. But a yard is 3 feet. So if you took 3 rulers, you would get 1 yard. Okay, let's go to another one. How many feet are in a mile? So these, in a mile, there's 5,000. This is just random, 280 feet. So how many rulers would make a whole mile? 5,280 of them. All right, so all 3 of these are distance, like how far you're going to go, right? So if I said, how long is something or how far is it to get across a room, we'd probably use feet or yards. If you're going to run or travel to a new state, miles, right? So anyway, those are conversions if you want to move from one to another. Another big one is cups. How many cups are in a gallon? So when you do measuring, a cup isn't quite like a whole cup. A cup is about this big, and this deep, filled with liquid. How many of those would make a whole gallon jug of milk? Answer, conversion, 16. All right, another one of these. How many ounces, O-N-C-E-S, ounces, but it's abbreviated O-Z. How many ounces are in a pound? That one at least stays consistent, 16. So 16 ounces in a pound. All right, let's go over to the metric world. The metric world is a lot simpler. Let's ask ourselves, let's switch colors here. Let's go purple. How many meters? So a meter, do I have my meter stick? I do. I'm going to go grab it. How many meters are in a kilometer? We already talked about this on the blue sheet, but kilo means 1,000. Let me grab a meter stick really quick and let you guys see. So this is a meter stick. Looks like a ruler, but look, keeps going. Like your teacher probably has in their room. A meter stick. It would take 1,000 of those sticks to make a kilometer. So a kilometer is kind of like, it's a little bit smaller, but it's kind of like a mile. Again, it's distance, how far something is. And then we have a smaller measurement, which is a centimeter. And centa means 100. So like a centipede, think of that, or a century is 100 years, or a centipede has 100 legs. Well, a centimeter, in a meter, how many centimeters in a meter? That's going to be 100, because centa means 100. All right, we're almost done. The other one is going to be milliliter, in a liter. Oops, milliliter. My spelling, not so good, coming back from spring break. All right, how many milliliters are in a liter? Again, 1,000. So like milli and kilo mean 1,000, centa means 100. All right, let's do our last set here. And this is going to be our times. Now, the next ones we're doing, you guys are going to know. We're going to do seconds to minutes. We're going to do minutes to hours. Minutes to days. Days to weeks. Weeks to months. And months to years. All right, so this is time. This stuff you recognize. Right now you might be saying, what is he saying? I can't even see his screen. There you go. These are going to be easier. How many seconds are in a minute? Hopefully you just said in your brain 60. How many minutes are an hour? 60. How many minutes are in a day? Can't do that. I meant to say hours today. My bad. You can figure out, part of this whole thing is figuring out how many minutes are in a day, but we're not going to have to do that. How many hours in a day? 24 hours in a day, right? How many days in a week? 7 days, not 5. You know, when I was your age, I thought there were 5 days in a week because I always thought about school. I always didn't count the weekends. But of course, 7 days in a week. How many weeks are in a month? 52 weeks. That's one that I think a lot of you do not know. And I didn't know really either. 52 weeks in a year. Then finally, how many months are in a year? 12 months in a year. All right. So that's a lot of stuff, but having these notes will help you do your homework tonight. But more importantly, they are going to help you just in general. You can look back at them, and some of the stuff we're going to memorize, the stuff that is on the eventually on here. So a lot for a Monday. Thank you for being patient with me. I hope you have a wonderful first day back at school. And with that said, I will come visit you guys or see you soon.